Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org. I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Linda Baas McClelland.
And this is...
It's Movie Time.
All right. Lenny, last week we had a pretty downer called Deepin. And thank you for being here with me, because you and I are the only ones, including Kevin, I think, who have seen Dark Horse. Now, Lenny, is this a Disney movie? What is this?
It's a documentary, but boy, it's a winner in my book. It's a heartwarming true story of Jan Vokes, I think that's how you say her name.
Yeah.
A Welsh barmaid and grocery store cleaner.
Yeah.
She's bred racing pigeons and whippets, but dreams of breeding a racehorse. She wants to enter the sport of kings. It's a long shot, but Jan has pluck, and her enthusiasm inspires her husband, Brian, who's a real character.
Right, toothless Brian,
Yeah,
but
he's a
very
cold-
talkative.
He's a cold delivery man, sporting tattoos, and like you said, missing teeth.
Yeah, and he is such a fabulous character. In fact, as documentaries goes, this is one of the very best for characters in front of camera.
Yeah.
You couldn't hire actors to be as good as
There were
these
no
people.
extras in this, so they were all the real people.
And she is just charming.
Yeah.
I mean, it is her passion to raise a horse, a thoroughbred that will win, which in fact it does win. I mean, there's no reason to withhold that from our audience. This is historically true. The whole story is true.
Right.
In 2009, it won the the Welsh Grand
Right.
National race.
Yeah, but just to back up a minute.
Sure.
The breeding and training of a racehorse takes lots of money, and it's hard to find in this Welsh mining town. But she gets good advice from a lead investor named Howard Davies, and she enlists 23 of her friends and neighbors, all working class people, keep in mind, to contribute 10 pounds a week for her dream to come true. And these cheerful folks see it all as a fun hobby.
Oh yeah, and look, the mine has been shut down. This little
Right.
Welsh town is struggling. They're struggling for their identity, and this brings them something new. Acclaim, national acclaim,
Right.
a real sense of who they are, and as we see, as Louise Osmond, the director, so well shows us,
Right.
these are proud people.
Oh, they are.
They have achieved something. They have nurtured. I mean, after a horse, they found a mare that they could afford.
And she's never won a race.
And they started
And a stallion whose best attribute is his low price tag.
I know, and they nurtured them. Now look at this true life story has elements that you wouldn't believe. Something happens, and the horse has to come back. You know, it doesn't win all of its races to the Grand National.
Right.
It does, however, overcome some very difficulties,
Right.
and is able then to prove how heroic the horse is, and the town itself, which continues to contribute. And so as a documentary, it fulfills all of my obligations: truth to the story, interesting characters,
Oh, yes.
and what a story.
Yeah. I loved watching the young horse who has beautiful markings on his face. He's kind of a butterscotch colored horse with white legs, so he's easy to spot when he's in a race. But watching him trying to adapt to his training when they first started with him, it reminded me of a rebellious little boy trying to fit into a new school where everybody was bigger and smarter. And it follows him through the 10 years of his career.
Yeah. And there are other characters. We haven't mentioned them all, but I like Howard Davis, who is the tax lawyer. He's
yeah.
quite a bit different from Brian, her
Right,
husband.
yes.
Actually,
Yeah.
completely more of a professional man
Yeah.
who has done it before, and has actually, when she overheard him talking about how difficult it is to raise horses, for prizes, she is interested by hearing him, and he
Right.
stays with her, I think, through
Indeed.
the whole thing. Also, do you remember the name of they call themselves? Anyway, I love it. it's to us it has a different resonance. The people in the town who put up the money for this horse are called the syndicate, and I love that.
I forgot about that.
For us, it's a different kind of meaning. I think for
definitely
for the Welsh, it's a benign meaning,
right.
and we have more of a mafia connotation to the syndicate.
But the director, Osmond, she keeps us from being a cliche of, you know, all the happy things that happens. She uses actual footage of some of the races, and she interviews with the spirited owners, and she recreated scenes of them at the races. And they're easy to spot because they're at these fancy events with all the dignified money horses that they're the ones carrying the 6-pack of ale. And the wives are not wearing designer hats. These are actually the real life people.
You know, and that's a very important part of the film. The contrast between the working class and the swells.
Right.
The people in the top hats. And you're I think, alluding to that one fabulous scene where he tries to get into the race with his carrying his...
He's got a 6-pack of ale.
Yeah, his ale and his food, his sandwiches.
Oh, yeah.
So he convinces them he's actually an owner.
It wears a tag saying owner.
Yeah. So it has its lighthearted,
right.
comedic moments, but mostly it's a story of warmth that's true.
Right. It's inspiring working class people with a lot of resolution, following their dream against all odds.
And there you go. The name of the horse is Dream Alliance. My only criticism
were some of the interviews with the Welshmen could have used subtitles. They often were filmed in the pub, so it could have been the ale or their dialect that made them hard to understand. And then another thing that I want to add, I don't know, the ending for me was disappointing.
Okay.
The film seems to just abruptly end. It's frozen in mid-frame and then it goes black. And I kept waiting for a concluding scene or more information in the credits, but they never... There was
no, I can't remember. They tell you what happened afterwards to the horse?
Not really.
Okay, all right.
And that I wanted to know that because you really do have great affection for the horse because he's a character in his own.
But we do know that he doesn't race anymore, right?
Correct.
Isn't that it's clear from the story that it is. Yeah, but you would like the typical, and Louise Osmond isn't a typical documentarian. The typical documentary would scroll descriptions. It would have photos of the real people. Well, they have hair, of course.
Yeah.
Would have a description of what happens to each character, including the horse.
And I wanted to see if Dream Alliance had any baby horses that went on to be successful.
It may not. It may not. Oh, Linda, you have more questions we can't answer.
Oh.
But one thing, Linda Baas McClelland, the film is Dark Horse, and you're going to have to award it a grade. So I'm very anxious to hear what you have to say about this one.
I found it a very enjoyable.
Oh, good. All right. And I gave it an A-, just as I did last week for Deep End. I think for the reasons that we had said, and just because I'm a sucker for a good animal story.
Yeah. And we're off.